Hello everybody, this is Peter the Rock. It's 5:47 on Thursday the 25th of July, and I hope that I've come to the end of this walk, which is really quite a nightmare, to be honest. Up and down some very steep banks with nothing to hold on to. I did meet a couple of cyclists along the way who did tell me that I was quite near the end, which was encouraging because I was nearly at the point of going back. Now, ahead of me is Dominique, and there's a bit of a sort of mist in the air. It is chugging away. I was hoping to be a bit nearer, but beggars can't be choosers. So we'll just have to see if there's any action I can see from here, which, well, the little yellow crane at the top is moving towards Birmingham, but it's not carrying anything. But it's the first time I've been able to see Dominique in action for about 4 weeks, since it disappeared from sight from the Granion Canal. But it's still quite a way away. It looks very orange in this light. This kind of mizzle light, I suppose you'd describe it as. Now, because it's so late in the afternoon / evening, they might be winding up. I certainly feel like winding up. I've got a major task to find my way back, because there are no signposts on any of the trees or anything. It's just intuition, really, trying to remember the way I got here. And that crane is still moving a little bit towards the back of Dominique. I don't think I'm going to be able to get much closer. It's possible I could go around the edge of this fenced off bit, but I think I've had enough, really, of clambering up and down hills. Sorry to disappoint you, and I really would like to be, an agile mountaineer type, as well as a cameraman, a describer of HS2, and all things exciting like that. But you can't have everything. And my thanks to Steve for suggesting this route, I think. He's a younger man than I am, but so perhaps he leapt around like a mountain goat. I once went to a youth hostel in a place called Davos in Switzerland. Now, Davos since then has become famous. It's where there are international meetings quite regularly, and it's in a valley up in the mountains in Switzerland. And I was hitchhiking with my friend Dave around Europe, and we only had vague ideas about where we'd end up each night. We had a list of Jugendherberge, which is German or Swiss for youth hostels, and we knew there was one in Davos. And we got to the top of the valley, and it was about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was a big sign saying Davos 8 kilometers, Jugendherberge 10 kilometers, something like that. And we thought, well, that's not too bad. A couple of hours and we'll get there. What we didn't realise was that although the youth hostel was in fact 10 kilometres away, 9 kilometres was through the flat of the valley, and the last kilometre was almost straight up. Which, when you've been lugging a backpack round all day, you don't want to have to ascend several hundred, if not 1,000 feet. But we had no choice, because we had to find somewhere to sleep for the night. And but the great thing about Switzerland is that there are lots of signs, and I do understand German, so we could get by. So we started to ascend various paths looking for the youth hostel, and we crossed a field, and I don't know how we got into this field, but I think there was some sheep in it. There were certainly some animals that I remember, and there was a fence at the top of the field, and because the grass was quite slippery, quite dewy, actually very similar conditions to what it is now, Misley. And I got to the top of the field, which got a bit steeper, and I began to slip. So I reached out and grabbed the fence. Unbeknown to me, it was an electric fence. And I didn't actually understand what was happening to me. I was hanging onto the fence like grim death, as they say. And the harder I held onto it, the more I was holding onto it with my right foot. My left foot was kind of kicking in an uncontrollable direction. Dave, who initially thought this was rather funny, suggested that I actually let go of the fence. It hadn't occurred to me, and I did, and of course the electric charge stopped. Some of you viewers may say, well, that explains quite a lot. But when we got to the youth hostel, you can imagine the relief and the beautiful views, and it was sort of bunk beds, and there were no luxuries, no it wasn't pleasant. It was very, very basic. We had a sheet sleeping bag or something, I think, and the only water you could get was from a pump outside. There was a well, and then we discovered the next morning the walk back down, which was a much more pleasant walk along named paths. So sometimes getting back from somewhere is always easier than getting to somewhere, and I hope that's the case with me today. But I'll never forget how, you know, when you've been when you're really tired and you've been travelling across a strange country and you're really looking forward to the youth hostel, my advice is, if there's a sheep in the field, don't grab the fence. Luckily, this fence isn't electric. That would be a shame. And I have a hope of finding my way back, because I'm going to just listen and head for the road, head for the traffic along the Harville Road. And it took me half an hour to get from there to here. It's probably only a mile, because there was a certain amount of clambering and sliding and rather undignified getting about the place, all for a rather disappointing view of Dominique. So there we are. I'll see if I can find another viewpoint. There is a garage that's still open apparently, which seems to be nearer, so I might try and negotiate my way through there. But because it's so late in the evening, I think I should, the best bet is for me to try to make it home tonight. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm afraid the HS2 fans may be disappointed not to see a bit more action from Dominique, but I shall do my best. I'm doing my best today, and hopefully on another occasion there'll be better HS2 action. It's Peter the Rock. It's Thursday, the 25th of July. Like and subscribe. Cheers.